I come from a family. My dad is a Kappa. I have 4 uncles that are Kappa, so I didn't have that option, right? So I had to, but I always tell folks, of course, do your research, definitely, go to events and do what you feel that feels natural to you, because
Yes.
that's what it should feel like. Because guess what? As we know, Camille, you got your letters on today. It's a lifelong
It
organization.
is. And I was a
Yeah.
rebel because my grandmother, all her nieces are AKAs.
Okay. So you like, look, I'm
So
doing
when I
something
came home, they were like, excuse me.
different. You be like, y'all still love me though, right?
They do. But they was like, I'm like, y'all didn't talk to me. So
Yeah.
you didn't grab me up when I was little.
So
but
true. So true. Yes.
but I think it's important to just also, as far as advocacy, right? We
Yeah.
see a lot of things happening on campuses
So true.
with I hate to use the word discrimination, but that's flat
Yeah.
out what it
Yeah.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
so with students, like with my sorority, we were founded because, the ladies, they were experiencing things on the campuses of Butler, dealing with the Klan and the campuses being raided and being a safe haven for Black women to go. But we look at now with the political left and right,
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
students to have a safe haven and a place to belong. Also
Right.
have a voice, and also you have the backing of international organizations. All of our members are prominent members. They're judges and lawyers and vice presidents of the United States. And so it's so important to have those connections, and not just within your organization, but even someone outside your organization. I can't tell you how many times, even being active duty in the military, when I was in the Navy, I still have my plates on my car. It was another level of connection when I met another service member and they were Greek.
So true.
And
Yeah.
that bond and knowing that, hey, I see you. If you need something, let me know. I'll look out. And I think that's very important. And so I think
true.
for students and our incoming students to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
how important it is, and that you can make an impact. And like you said, give you life skills, because this might sound crazy. And I know people process differently, but me processing the way I did in the 90s got me through boot camp in the Navy.
Yeah. So
Because
true. Yeah.
I was very nervous about joining. I'm a church girl, joining the military.
Previous job prior to now, I did policy work for the state of Tennessee in post-secondary. So he was one of those figureheads that like was at every meeting and fighting with the governor, whatever the case may be. Just how, again, really getting the word out that, hey, Black men deserve to be educated as well. And so again, with his legacy, there's so many different initiatives that are going on across the state. I do want to pause and say that it's, we're at a time where it's super, I like to say we have to ring the bell. It's alarming. If you look at the data just in Tennessee, and really not only in Tennessee, I mean, across the country, when we look at Black men going to college and graduating, it's 20 points below their white male counterpart.
Wow.
This is the lowest that it has ever been in Tennessee for Black men. So, we kind of say it, sometimes lightly, like, oh, Black men are not going to college, but they're really not going to college. And
Why?
so we have to, going back, I think, to number one, to high school. And I talk about the advising piece and having the conversations early in them seeing college. I was the prime example. I didn't really see it for myself, but it took, role models like Adara Freeman, the Dr. McPhee, and just, I even try to be that guy that so many Black men, number one, to have the conversation, but importantly, outside of just the conversation of college, now college, Camille, looks so different than when we went back 20 years ago, almost. Yeah. So it's, back then it was like you go to a 4-year or you go to a community college and you're good. Now you have so many different options, from 4-year, 2-year technical schools. You have certifications, you have certificates. And so I think sometimes, a lot of times, we just don't know what's out there. So the knowledge is not there. So you only think you got 2 options. That's a 4-year or 2-year. That's great. It's for
the military was.
Or the military, yes. Yeah. So again, just knowing the options, I think, is number one. But I think when you get Black men on your college campus, it's not just enough to say, I enrolled you, but what do you have to keep me there to graduation, right? So it's like inviting somebody in your home and they get in the house and they don't really feel comfortable, they gonna leave, right? So it's the same with Black men. So we got to do more than just recruit them, what are we doing to support them through graduation? Yeah.
That's good. And also, like you said, seeing other people that look like them on the
Yeah.
campuses. I think also now with this culture and this generation, we see so many, particularly our Black boys, being pushed into sports or be a rapper
Yeah.
or social media to where they feel like, well, I don't need college anymore because I can be a influencer or play sports and brand that way. But I still believe that we still need our brothers in places like the classroom.
So
Statistically, less than all attorneys, less than 2% are Black.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need us in STEM. We need us in medicine. We need ourselves in law. So I think it's great that you brought that out and how important it is to still push our brothers in those educational spaces. And I think also little boys and little girls respond differently when they see Black men in the classroom, because so many of our little kids in our neighborhoods don't have a father in their home, or they're co-parenting. We hear that term now, but to have another male figure, Black male figure in their life that is positive and can reinforce those things, I think that is key as well.
Right. And just to add a little bit to that, again, we as Black men have to go to where they are. You know, I think so many times we wait on them to come to us. But as you just said, you know, we have to go to the community centers. We have to go to the basketball games, right? I'm actually working with a nonprofit, an actual retired NFL player. I won't say his name. The contract is not all the way signed yet, but I want to say that because, you know, he recognizes the power of education, and so retired. He has a nonprofit. So he's like, hey, I want to bring a Dr. Boyd in early to my ninth graders. And I've been able to write a whole curriculum, you know, for that particular program, you know, my book, the workshops, and just think in their ninth grade year, they're getting exposed, like you said early, by a Black male.